Hello, everyone. So before we get started, I want to just talk about this box here. This was the box that I was using to store all the blanks from Makers for the Monday Morning Pen Blank Makers series. And I think I'm going to have to get a bigger box because I've been getting pen blanks from everywhere. And I reach out to people and I say, hey, eventually I'd want to use your blank. And a lot of people were just like really enthusiastic about it. Now, you see, we have a ton of good stuff in here already. And I think I showed you on the last video. I don't need to show you anymore. But I've decided to kind of expand this to a whole load of different stuff as well. And here's all the blanks that I received this week. And I want to talk a little bit about them before we get going. Now, what you see before you here is, this is from Tim Nguyen. I think his last name is Nguyen. He's out of Orange County, California, and he makes these custom blanks that are filled with some type of granite rock that has like a gold hue. It almost looks like a blue lapis blank, and it kind of is. I think it might even be lapis. I'm not even sure. But I want to use this blank in one of the Monday morning series as well. Now, I think the buyer is already made for this one, but it is a blank made by a maker. And, I think it's really interesting and it's unique. And I happen to have one extra one that I was given by Nick Pasquale. And so I think I'm going to use it. Also, my friend Jason Olson sent me these, and these are pretty cool. That's his series, and I asked him for them, but I forgot to mention that he's really good at making a lot of hybrid stuff, and this is one of my favorite ones. This is with mammoth bark from the mammoth tusk, and it's a really neat blank, and so we're going to use one of these as well. All right, so now these are more commercially known blanks. What I mean by that is it's kind of the standard custom blanks made by blank makers that are made from resins, and they're all made a lot of different variations and different sizes. But these are all brand new since the last time we spoke. Like I said, here's the ones from Jason, and we'll be using those, so we'll put those in the box. But we've got some other ones I want to talk about. This is from my friend Robert Sanchez, and I reached out to him and I said, I know that you don't sell your blanks, but I'd really like to critique one and try one. And he was more than willing to send me a few. But there is a disclaimer. He does not sell his blanks, and do not try to buy his blanks from him because he sells them as pens. And there are a couple people that do certain things. I know that some of the blanks made by Papa J, and I've got a few in here that we'll discuss, are also like that. He does not sell all of his blanks. He sells some of his blanks. But this is a really cool one. It's purple, and it's got like like what he calls a faux burl or something like that, and some glow stuff down here, and it's really neat. And we're going to be using this set first. And then my buddy Nick, I reached back out to him, and he gave me some updated blanks, and this one is just fabulous. And look how long it is. You could almost make two pens out of this blank, and I love that. That's one of the things that I really like about certain blanks, is that the longer they are, the more you have to work with. Also, I reached out to the guy from the Pensmiths, and he had some really nice stuff too. And here's one that I liked a lot, and we're going to be using that. And of course, Sean Mastrino. I think I'm saying his name right. I really liked this blank that he sent me. Now, some of these blanks were given to me when I reached out, and some were purchased. Like, I'll be purchasing them if they want to give them to me. That's fine. I really thank you, but you don't have to. I did get some who are going to give me a huge discount. I got a 25% discount from one blank maker, but all of these blanks will be used in this series. All right. Last but not least, these are also the same type of blanks, but they were given to me by a non-blank maker who knew that I liked these particular makers. My buddy Alex out in California, who is a good good dude. He, a lot of collectors, pen collectors, like to collect blanks as well. And I think it's because they like to collect the blank and then choose the maker that they send them to. So he has sent me all these blanks to be made, and some of them are pretty cool and from makers that I really like Tim McKenzie at Diamond Cast. It's a nice blank. He has a couple of Tim McKenzies, and they're pretty cool. Now, he knows that one of my favorite blank makers in my top 3 is Tim Crow from Turnt Pen Company, and we'll be doing a Tim Crow blank very soon. But these are really super nice. And not like my other favorite blank maker, Hobble Creek. Look at that. Got some Hobble Creek stuff going on here. This one is really cool. I think it's called Tiger. This one's Lunar Landing. And this one's Brown Sugar. But really super nice. I thought this was Tiger, but it's not. It's called Lunar Landing. And last but not least, some Papa J blanks. Like I said, we got some new Papa J blanks, and I'm going to be using these as well. So we're going to be putting these in the box as well. So stay tuned. We've got a lot of good stuff, and I'm going to be getting more blanks in because I've got a few more that I am reaching out to that I want to buy. Oh, wait, one more. I had these made for me a while ago, but I do need to put him in the mix too. Gabe Castro. These are custom blanks that were 3D printed blanks, which are really neat. And I already have a buyer for this one, but I wanted to use these blanks and give my critique of them. Now, these are not beginner blanks at any way, shape, or form, but none of the hybrids are ever beginner blanks. So, all right. Okay, here we go. Here is Monday Morning Blank Maker Series number 2. This is a Bob Dupress blank. His company is called Coral Creations. And this particular blank is called Mediterranean Cenote. I hope that I said that right. And the date of creation was February of last year. So it's just a little over a year old. One of the things I need to let you know is this is not a polished finish. And because the buyer requested that I do a matte finish, and I think he had something there. I mean, because it looks really neat. This is also a larger pen. This is in my Emperor size pens, but I call it a compact Emperor because it's not 6.8 inches long. It's only about 6.5 inches long. The clip is solid bronze, which I ran through my rolling mill, and I made it a lot thinner. It took a while because I kept having to anneal it, running it through, annealing it, run it through. And I chose this coral pattern for my embossing. And I think it really looks neat, and it looks good with this blank. So let's get into talking about how it was to make this pen. Okay, first thing off the bat, I want to let you know the size of this blank. This thing is over about 12 inches long. And that's good. That's really good. And you remember in my last episode that I said that I had only wished that her blanks were a little bit longer. This is not one of her blanks, but this is a shorter blank. And I just think you benefit from having a longer blank. Now, Starry Night Resins did get back to me and let me know that they are now making 12-inch long blanks. It's not a problem to have a shorter blank like this because it's a beautiful blank and I can't wait to use it. But the problem sometimes can arise when you do make a larger pen. This pen is 6.5 inches long. So by the time you start turning and stuff, you really got to make sure that you have enough room, because we're also taking some of the thread. Okay, so then it shortens that blank up even more. And if you want to get a section out of this, it's going to really be tight. Now, with the Bob Dupress blank and some other blank makers I've noticed, like Nick and some other people, going to the 12-inch blank is genius because you can get almost any size blank you want out of this. I mean, any size pen, excuse me. I don't edit these guys. This is right up and I'm going straight at you. And if I make a mistake, I make a mistake. But this Bob Dupress blank is going to be a really good pen because I have enough to work with, and it's gonna, make any type of pen I want, and what's ever left over I can use as a panel but most of the time I don't have enough left over to use anything. But it is nice to have the extra material. So what else do I like about this blank? Well, one of the things that makes Bob Dupress so good is his ability to color mix. And this almost looks like topographical with the ocean and stuff. It looks like parcels of islands or in the South Pacific, or it's really beautiful. I mean, you cannot deny that. I mean, he's got some golds in here and some reds or maroons, and I mean, the colors are just vibrant too. I mean, if you were to polish this thing, it would just stand out. I mean, it would be just a great combination of colors. And I think looking at his blanks and the ones that I do have, he's very consistent in that. I know he's been making blanks for a number of years, so he's really got his blank making down to a science. And I know a few makers that just love his work and use his work a lot. They make some beautiful pens with his material. This happens to be the first pen that I've ever made with his blank. But I will say that I was quite impressed. It threaded well. It is not hard to turn. It doesn't have any voids or any blemishes that to speak of. So I would give him a good rating on all of that. It's a very consistent blank, just like the last one was. So I do have to say that there's one thing that I was a little perplexed about. And I contacted a blank maker and pen maker friend of mine who you guys are all aware of, so he comes with a lot of credibility, and I asked him about it. And he says there are a couple blank makers that's common with. When I was turning this, it seemed to get a little bit of a chalky kind of look or finish to it. Now I use an eccentric engineering high-speed steel, so it turns things really well, like plastics and woods, and it cuts a really clean finish. Now I had just sharpened it and put it in my holder, and still, with that being said, I still got a little bit of a chalky type finish, and I don't know whether it's caused from the mica that they use or the coloring agents that they use, but in the end it didn't really matter. It didn't really matter because it was all able to sand off, and as you can see, the vibrant colors came through with no problem. But if you're a turner that likes to see things as you're doing them, and you like to have like a clean slate as you're working, that was a little bit of a problem. But I wouldn't consider that a deal breaker at all. In fact, not at all. As I said before, last week's blank did not have that issue. And I think it's going to just be, it could be a blank to blank thing, or it could be that some people's blanks are more susceptible to that type of cutting finish as you cut. Because I did take some finishing passes to like really small finishing passes, and it still kind of was a problem. Now, where I thought it was going to be a problem and it wasn't, was the threading. As you can see, these are very clean threaded on the lathe. This is a 36 TPI, 4 starts, and even the inside threading, I don't know if you can see it there, is really nice. So it didn't end up being a problem at all. And also the barrel cap threads were really nice as well. And it's a really nice fit and finish. And some blanks, will have a problem with that if they're not well made. So what do I consider this blank? Beginner, intermediate, or advanced? Well, I'm not really sure. I want to say that it's a beginner blank because I think it's very user-friendly. Very user-friendly. It's really consistent, and the colors are so vibrant and all over the place. Now, you could line this gold streak up, and we could call it an intermediate blank, but let's say that you didn't, and it wouldn't look like it really mattered. So it could be over there. So then it'd be a beginner blank, and most pen turners can use this blank. So I think it's probably a beginner blank. And what I mean by beginner is not that it's like something that a beginner would use, but you could use it if you were a beginner pen maker and you wanted to make a custom pen and you didn't have to worry about where the line of color landed, and you didn't have to make sure that it was all, one straight line of color. This blank can fall pretty much anywhere. And I bet, because the way he makes his blanks, that you could probably do that with any of them. So in the end, I have to ask myself, Tim, would you use Bob Druper's blanks from Coral Creations again? And the answer is absolutely. I would use them again and again and again because I really like his color. I really like the way his blanks look. I like the length of his blanks. I don't think the chalky thing is that big of a deal, but like I said, on every video, I have to mention something that kind of took me by surprise. I was expecting this thing to be the magic wand, and it is kind of. It's in the world of blanks, it's right up there. I'd say he's probably top 5 or 10 blank maker in the world that I've seen. And I think that's what I'm going after. All of the blank makers that I reach out to are really top-notch blank makers. And the reason is because they've earned their dues and they've paid the price. Now, I might reach out to someone that's newer and give them the shot, but I'm going to try to profile people that have paid their dues, that have worked hard, that have been doing it a while, and then they know what they're doing. Because those are the people that deserve to sell their stuff, and this guy deserves to sell his stuff. All right, that's it for today. Next week, we're going to profile a blank from the king. That's all I got to say. All right, goodbye.